Good afternoon and welcome to the Rotary Club of Gainesville Tuesday meeting at the Cade Museum. Please silence your cell phones, and if you're watching on YouTube, register your participation by sending an email to info@rotarygainesville.org. Up first to lead us in song and pledge, Pete Enwall.
Good to be back. As some of you know, I like to ponder philosophical questions. And one that I've been thinking about lately is where do bad rainbows go? And so I think I have the answer. They get sent to PRISM, and it gives them a chance to reflect. But what they're afraid of is that they'll be refracting out. Okay. We're gonna sing America the Beautiful today. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Join me in pledging allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Joining us via Zoom for our invocation, Kevin Thorpe.
May we pray. Lord, we are beyond grateful for this day and for all that it means. Thank you for bringing us together. Thank you for this highlight in our week, which gives us the opportunity to fellowship and to experience each other in new and exciting ways. We thank you for today's program. We thank you for the young people who are present. Thank you for the year that they have had. We look forward to hearing of their experiences. Continue to bless what we do and what we say. It is for your sake and for your glory, we pray. Amen.
Please be seated. If you're a guest or a visiting Rotarian, please remain standing.
Good afternoon, friends and fellow Rotarians. We have guests here today in many numbers. To my right here is Amelia Davidson, and she is an Outbound RISE student, and you'll learn more about her in just a little bit. Next is Paul Madsen. He is Sam's father. And then Sam, who has been in Hungary for a year, and he's going to share with you later. And then on my left here, we have Galen Marcinek. And I think, Galen, I'll let you introduce the folks around the table.
So I'm here with my family, little brother Max, mom Rachel, dad Doug, sister Bella, other dad Jason, other mom Emily.
Fellow Rotarians, my guest today is Joe Regalado. Joe is a native Gainesvillian. He's a Gator. I'm not going to tell you everything about him, but he's recently returned to Gainesville with his family, where he's practicing law with the Pipus Law Group.
Fellow Rotarians, my guest today didn't show up. His name is Jacob Aten, and he's from South Sudan. And on your table is a rather sad article about Sudan. And South Sudan was only part of Sudan for 13 years. And if you know anything about the history, they is Jacob. Okay. So when he was a member of the Lost Boys, he was from Sudan, not South Sudan. And he's going to have a gala event August the 3rd. He's trying to sell tickets. I told him I would help him. Maybe I could bust your heart open to the point where you open your wallet to help out Jacob in South Sudan. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My name is Philip Crutchfield. My guest today is Emmanuel Carbala Santiago. He's an estate attorney and business attorney here in town. With his firm is the Teal Acre PLLC in the Hale Village. If you want to know anything about estate planning, it's a confusing topic. He has a great blog, great newsletter. Check it out.
All right, and we'll have Miss Linda Reinhardt up with a quick announcement.
All right. We're only a little over a month away, or maybe not even that, till school starts back again. And so you guys know what that means. It's time for our Undy 500. Maybe we should call it our Undy Olympics in honor of the Olympics starting next week. So if everybody knows, we've been doing this for a few years. For the last couple of years, we've been extremely successful in collecting enough funds or pairs of underwear to supply all of the schools in Alachua County with this need that for children or even young adults that may need some assistance during the school day to keep them in school. So we'll be starting that next week. So please bring your money, bring your underwear. Helen will be back next week to really get everybody excited. But just wanted to let you guys know so you can get ready. And we're going to do another great job this year.
Thank you, Linda. And now, please join me in welcoming our president, Ryan Thompson.
Hey, good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. So the survey went out last night. A number of you have already returned responses, so I'm very grateful for that. Really appreciate the opportunity to get your insight on how we can improve our club experience, and enhance our impact within our community. Within the next day or two, we'll also get out give you the ability to confirm the committees that you're on within the club and sign up for additional committees through DACDB. So we're working on logistics of that. On your table, there's a very colorful flyer for the Vibrant Clubs Workshop. So speaking of surveys and what we're really trying to do to enhance our club experience, if you're interested in taking a leadership role in that, please come see me. I'd love to talk to you. I'll be going, it's on Saturday, August 24th, over in Orange Park, really to give clubs innovative tools and fresh ideas from outside the district that we can implement here in our club. So hopefully I'll be able to talk to a few of you about that opportunity. And throughout the year, you'll hear me mention how much I enjoy programs that we have every year, and this is certainly one of them. This is the Rotary Youth Exchange program, and I can't imagine the opportunity and how much these young individuals' lives have changed through this experience. Without any further ado, I'd love to bring up our Rotary Youth Exchange Chair, Debra Newell. Thank you.
I just want to make a a couple of thank you comments to all of you who received my calls and my emails the last 2 or 3 weeks concerning looking for host families, and to let you know that we do now have 2 host families for each of our incoming students. We are still open to having more and to having people who can serve as backup and, you know, maybe weekend or vacation families. And I also just want to thank that while Jan comes and goes, is here about half the year, and Bill has cycled out to for other pursuits, that we have been gifted with 3 new volunteers this year. One is Ryan, wave, and his beautiful wife, Martha, and then Trevor Wise. And so, and Guy is away today, but you know, sends his regards, and he helped get this all set up. And I am just appreciative to each and every one of you for supporting the RIE program. It is a year-round cycle. We have today, go ahead and come up. Gaylin and Sam and Amelia, all 3 of you come up. How the cycle works is that in the fall, we recruit for students to participate the following year. And then we train them, we prepare them, and get their countries ready, and then we send them out. There are other countries all around the world who are doing the same thing, and about that same time, they send students here. And then as soon as everybody's in place, we start taking care of the students that have been sent to us. Ours are being educated in a different country, in a different language, and then we are also recruiting families and students for the next year. So this is an ongoing effort, and it doesn't happen without the help of you all in a lot of different ways. And I will leave some people out, but Margaret and Mary and Marie and others that have helped along the way. We appreciate it, and we couldn't do it without you. So let me introduce the students, and then I'm just going to let them come up and tell about themselves when it's their turn for the presentation. This is Sam Madsen, and he just came back from Hungary. And this is Amelia Davidson, and she's heading out to Sweden. And then there's Gaylin Marcinek, and she just came back from Austria. So, without taking any more of their time, yes, we're going to let Amelia start, okay?
Hi, so I'm Amelia Davidson. I'm going to be going to Sweden, or Sverige. I am 17 years old. I'm going to be there for 10 months, and I'm just going to share with you a little bit about the culture and the place I'm going to be living in, thanks to Rotary and the Rotary Youth Exchange program. So in Sweden, 20% of the population plays some sort of sport. It is a major cultural institution. The most popular sport is football, not the American football, but soccer. It is the most popular sport there. They also play handball, which is a form of indoor hockey, and golf, interestingly enough, equestrian sports, and gymnastics. But these aren't the only sports played there. They also play sports like American football and basketball in much lower quantities. And they also watch a lot of sports. Hockey, this is where hockey and other ice sports like curling come in. Hockey is a very often viewed sport, and they watch lots of motor races like Formula 500, Formula 1, stuff like that. So Sweden celebrates a lot of the same holidays that we do here in the US. They have their Independence Day, Sweden National Day on June 6th. But the day that stands out as their holiday that we don't celebrate in the US is Midsummer. It is June 21st, and it is the middle of summer. People get a day off of work and they go out into the country and they hold festivals and parties. Sweden is home to over 100,000 lakes and over 20,000 islands. It is part of the Scandinavian peninsula in Europe. It is very northward, and so you can see the northern lights very well. I'm looking forward to experiencing a lot of the nature there that we would never experience here in Florida. Demographics-wise, 60% of Sweden is Lutheran, 33% is unspecified, and 8.9% is other, which is those who answered the survey as being Catholic or Buddhist or Muslim. 25% of residents in Sweden have an immigrant background. For example, my host sister is half Korean. And the equality between men and women is very equal in Sweden. It's almost not worthy of note, any differences between the two. Government-wise, Sweden is a representative democracy with a parliamentary system. It does still maintain a monarchy, but because it's constitutional, it is mainly figureheads like you would see with the British monarchy. The important people of note in government are Ulf Kristersson, the Prime Minister, and Ebba Busch, his deputy. Another important person to note is Jessica Roswell, their Minister for EU Affairs. Education-wise, Sweden is ranked 12th in the world for the best education. They have 16 compulsory subjects, including Swedish, English, math, sciences, art, handicrafts, and religion. Preschool is a civil right starting at age 1, and education is mandatory starting at age 6, and is provided by the government. Students in Sweden don't wear uniforms. It is incredibly atypical, and all students start school at 8:30 in the morning, regardless of age. But whether they get out early or late is dependent on age. So younger students will get out earlier around, say, 2 p.m., whereas older students will leave school at about 3 p.m. or maybe 4. There are 2 semesters very similar to the US, starting in mid-August and ending in mid-December, and then starting mid-January, ending mid-June. History-wise, Sweden started out as part of the Kalmar Union, which dissolved after the Stockholm bloodbath, and Sweden rebelled. And in 1523, they crowned King Gustav Vasa and started the Swedish Empire, which reigned until the major European Union, wherein Denmark, Poland, and Russia teamed up. And in the Great Northern War, they decrowned Sweden, and it shrunk to the size of Sweden and what is now Finland. In 1721. After the Napoleonic Wars, it became the country that we now know today. There was massive immigration to North America, specifically the United States, in the early 19th and early 20th centuries due to the lack of available agrarian land in Sweden. But in the 1900s, around World War I and World War II, Sweden became a major industrial power due to its lack of involvement in the world wars. And they altered their constitution in 1975, forming their parliament. And again in 1979, which turned their male primogeniture into just oldest child primogeniture. So the Crown Princess Victoria inherits over her younger brother. My goals for this exchange are to make at least 2 close friends who I never would have met without this opportunity, to achieve B2 fluency, which is halfway in between never learned the language and native speaker, and to experience nature. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Hey y'all. I'm Galen Marsnick, and I'm the recently returned outbound who's in Austria. And I'm really looking forward to telling you a bit about my exchange year. Mostly it's going to be what I did with Rotary and a little bit about my day-to-day life in Austria. If it works. Technical difficulties. Okay, thank you. So for those of you that don't know, Austria is a landlocked country in Central Europe. So here you can see it on the map, that tiny little red dot. And that is where I was living. It's actually smaller than the state of Florida, just to put it in perspective for you. So the beginning, in August of 2023, it was time, and I flew to Austria. Before my departure, I had a monthly training, like Deborah was saying, with District 6970 to prepare myself and the other outbounds for our exchange year. And this picture you see here is in Austria. At the beginning of my exchange year, I had the opportunity with Rotary to go on a 2-week language camp to Salzburg with all of the other inbound students. It was such a wonderful time to begin my exchange year, and all of these people that you see me with, I had no idea before I started my exchange year that by the first night of language camp, I would meet my second family, because that's truly what they all are to me. So that was really special. And now on to travel. I got so many amazing opportunities to travel with Rotary during my exchange year. In September, we had a weekend in Vienna to learn about the culture, landmarks. In October, we had a city trip. So in just 4 days, we went to Prague, Dresden, and Berlin. In December, we had a Christmas weekend in Innsbruck, where we actually took part in a social action program, Kaufeinsmeer. So the aim of that project was to collect food and hygiene articles for families in need. In March, we had a 1-week ski trip in Tyrol. And then what you see on the slide here is our really big trip through Europe, which was the end of April through the beginning of May, where we got to visit cities in Belgium, France, Monaco, and Italy. So now onto my daily life. I had the opportunity to live in Amstetten and Oberndorf an der Melk, and I really, really enjoyed my time in Oberndorf. It was so much like its own little world. I feel like small cities in the US are always connected to bigger cities somehow, some way, but Oberndorf really just felt like it was on its own. It was so beautiful, and what I loved about Amstetten was the really great train connections. So school, we can say, was a really great academic pause. It was a very interesting experience for sure. Although I did not receive actual grades for my year abroad, I really enjoyed being able to see the classroom dynamic from the other people in my class, and I had 6 hours a week where I got to learn German with other non-native speakers, and I think that really, really helped me progress in the language. And some of these other photos, can you go back? Yeah, some of these other photos you see, the top one is actually my school. It's in Amstetten, the Gymnasium Amstetten. And then we also went on a hike with my class in September, a couple train rides away, but it was really beautiful. And we also had the opportunity, my class and the parallel class, to go to Vienna and visit the university and parliament. And so speaking of Vienna, I include this in my daily life part of the presentation because I was there very often. If you don't know, Amstetten is just about a 15-minute train ride from Vienna, and so I found myself going there pretty much every day, sometimes just after school, to go to my favorite museum for 30 minutes before taking the train back to Amstetten. It was really a beautiful experience, and I think definitely my favorite city in the world. And so then the end. So Austria is split up into 2 Rotary districts, District 1910 and 1920. So we had 2 different conferences. My district, 1910, is actually includes Bosnia, and so we got to have our district conference in Sarajevo, which was a really fun experience. I think that we could definitely see how the Bosnian culture was influencing it more as opposed to the district conference in Austria, which was for 1920. If you could go to the next slide. Yeah, so we had that in Kitzbühel, which was just the following weekend, and like I said, it was completely different experiences as far as the cultural influence from the two different countries, but both were so fun. You can kind of see in this picture, me and all of the other inbounds had a little presentation, I guess you could say, to give to all the Rotarians who were there, and it was really beautiful experience. And then just last week, actually, almost to the day, I flew home. And so here we are now back in Florida. Had such an incredible year. I'm so grateful for it for so many reasons and so many ways. I think that Rotary really gave me this beautiful experience that could have never gotten from anything else. So yeah, thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm back. Nice to see you. Yeah, I've been home about 3 months now. It's been a good 3 months. My exchange was like 8.5 months long. I got hit there and I got to experience the seasons, like real seasons for the first time. Summer, fall, winter, and spring, and I was the only idiot in Hungary going like, oh man, I can't wait for winter. Oh man, and then winter dragged on for 5 months. And I biked to school like every day. This is on my bike path to school, and oh man, that was winter, but then spring was really cool. Yeah, and this is just some parts of my town, and I lived in a very small town called, I'll try to pronounce it, Szombathely. My Hungarian is really more understanding based. And yeah, I mean, it was a really small town. I mean, I was glad I did like that town, and it was still like this European town with like a real square and all these monuments. That one is like a Russian monument. We all called it the Bird because it looks like an abstract bird. I loved that place. It's right by my school. And in winter we got to go to the Christmas market. And oh yeah, that was at my school. That it snowed in school one day, and then we had like a 15-minute break in between periods, so we all went out and had a snowball fight, and that was a good day. And then this is my classroom. So I want you to take a good look at this. Like that is my desk, as you can see, like protruding out. It's like every desk we had just like 2 people in 3 rows, but my desk was an extra desk placed on the 3rd row at the very back. So I just like stuck out like a sore thumb all day. Oh my God, yeah. And then these are some of my classmates. To my left in the red shirt, that guy was my best friend. He spoke English pretty well, and he was hilarious. And then, this was the best part of my day. As you can see, it says deck up there. This is like, I went to this coffee shop every day after school, and I never used to drink coffee. And let me tell you about my first experience. It's like, so on the way to Hungary, my flight got delayed, and then I was given a new itinerary, and it's a whole story. But I ended up getting, I missed my flight while I was in Italy, and then I lost my passport in Italy. So my first host mom actually had relatives in that part of town, so they drove like an hour to pick me up and bring me to this other airport, but then I lost my passport, so then I just gave up, and then we went on this drive to their house, and I got to spend the night with real Italians, and it's there's this one guy who, well, he said he knew English, but he didn't. 5 Italians and 1 Hungarian, so my Duolingo really had to be put to use. It was not very useful, but I had to have a real Italian dinner with these people, and at 9 p.m. they gave me my first espresso, put a lot of sugar in it, and I'm seriously, after that, every day I got a coffee, and on the drive to Hungary the next day I got a cappuccino, and that was just the first of many. And I make coffee now, and I'm trying to get hired as a barista right now, and it was because of that. These are the takeaways, really. Yeah, and that was my first one. And this is the Italian sunrise on that drive back. Still, like that awful horror story is still like my favorite like memory from exchange, one of them. And then these are all of the other exchange students. And like, it was really rare I got to see these guys. It was like 6 times the whole year. We didn't do many trips in Hungary. But like each one was so amazing. And these guys were the best. And this is in Budapest. And so some kids got to stay in Budapest, and I'm glad I didn't, because it's like, I got to see it as a real treat. And like those rare times I got to go, I remember them fondly. And this is just from one time where my second host sister just let me loose in the city, and I just got to walk around for hours, and it was the best. So I had 3 host families total. The first one was the one with the Italian relatives. I stayed with them for 4 months, and then I had this sort of backup host family for a month and a half, and then I had another one for 2.5 months. And that like second host family was they were the kindest people, like especially so, and they really saved my whole year and made it so wonderful. And like they're just people who had tried really hard to like be kind and just nice and fun. And there was this one woman in Budapest who, we had a Euro tour at the very end, and I went there the day before the Euro tour, and at the end, and she was just, had like the best conversations with her, and she was just another one of these such kind people, and like every one of them you meet makes a real difference in your life. And then, oh yes, this is from the Euro tour, and at the very end, like it was in April, we went on this tour of Europe. We went to like 5 days in Italy, 1 day in Venice, and then Switzerland, 2 days in France, etc., and then back to Budapest. And this is from the day in Florence, and these were the guys I hung out with, 3 Canadians, 1 French girl, and me. Oh, and that guy was the only other American. And this is from Sweden. And oh yes, so these are the organizers of the Euro Tour. I want you to picture 10 days driving to each European capital, and you're only 3 adults wrangling 30 kids who are loose in the city. I appreciate them. Yeah, and so that on the left there is my second host mom, and yeah, she took me to a nearby town called Kuseg on this like hike, and that's another one of those great memories. And these are some girls I met at like the very end, and they sort of just accepted us, me and the other exchange student from Mexico, into their friend group at like the very end of the year. I really have quite a lopsided exchange. It was all beginning and end. And then this is my last day, and that's my second host mom taking me to a coffee shop in the airport about to leave. Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
I'm John Gregory, and
I remember.
And I would very much like to have you guys be able to tell me in your native, I'm not in your native, but in your foreign language, what it is as an introduction that you gave to the Rotary. And I know that you have learned, you have introduced yourself to the Rotary. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So my point, though, is if you would tell us in the foreign language what you actually told the Rotarians. When you introduced yourself.
Amerikai vagyok. I am American. This is my most useful Hungarian I learned. Egy cappuccinót. Took me 5 months to learn you're supposed to put a T at the end.
I haven't gone yet, but we have this long speech planned for whenever we meet our host Rotary clubs. I'm gonna give you like the first 2 sentences. Hej, jag heter Emilia och jag kommer från Gainesville, Florida i USA. Jag är vita och gammal och jag lämnar dem. Hi, I'm Amelia Davidson. I come from Gainesville, Florida in the US. I am 17 years old and I like to read.
Hallo, ich bin die Gaylene und ich bin 18 Jahre alt. Ich komme aus Gainesville, Florida. Und ja, I'm Galen Marcinek and I'm 18 years old and I come from Gainesville, Florida.
I have a simple question. In Sweden, you mentioned there's a lot of sports. I just want to know if euchre is considered one of those sports. The card game euchre. Okay, nobody got the joke.
I have never heard of that card game. I think that the sports in Sweden are mostly focused on physical sports, but if you could teach me that card game, I will bring it over there and it will become a new sport.
Hi, I'm Dana. It's a great game, by the way. But of the two that have returned, or now Rotex, I guess you know, were all of your host parents Rotarians, or had other people in the community also offered to host you?
Really, they were Rotarians. Either that or they had a kid who was going on exchange.
Yeah, it's the same for me. My second host family had no connections to Rotary. They just found out about it through a group chat and wanted to try it out. My first one was also not Rotarians, but all of their kids have gone on exchange. Yeah.
So, very impressive, all of you. So this experience for the two that have gone, one of the areas of focus for Rotary is peace building. And having been on that experience and seeing other cultures, is that an area where you would like to continue with that, possibly with the peace building aspect of Rotary?
I think definitely being exposed to a new culture, I'm sure Sam can agree, it really broadens your perspectives and forces you to be more empathetic and think more about what the person in front of you might be thinking or feeling. And so continuing down that path of experiencing new cultures and meeting new people that way certainly would be something to go with.
I mean, that's a tough question. I mean, I certainly feel more sympathetic to foreigners and like know the struggle, but really I was just another person there.
Okay, back here. So first of all, thank you for the Swedish history lesson. I'm originally from Sweden. You taught me a lot today, so thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I'm from Lund, and I don't know if you know where that is, but it's in the southern part of Sweden. So I was curious where you were going.
I'm going to be going to Uppsala, just north of Stockholm.
Uppsala, yeah. So that's the other university city in Sweden.
Yes.
So Lund has a university and Uppsala has a university.
Yes, whenever I went to DC to get my visa, there were about 20 other people waiting on the steps of the embassy to get their visa, and they were all college students going to Lund.
Going to Lund. Well, if you get a chance to visit, I would encourage you to do that. It's a great town.
I've probably told this story before, but you would be interested to know. I used to live in Sri Lanka, and one day I got a call from the embassy saying, "We have something down here called a Rotary student. Could we send him up?" So I'm glad you had a plan and a family waiting for you.
Yeah.
Hi, I had a chance to study abroad, but I was in grad school. I was a good bit older than you, and I was in Germany. Und du sprichst sehr gut Deutsch. I wonder if you got homesick, those of you who've been, or if you're worried about getting homesick. And does the Rotary training help you prepare for that? Did you get to Zoom with your family a lot, or did they come visit you? You know, how did you deal with being away from home for so long?
I think that District 6970 definitely does their best to prepare you for sickness. But that's something that I think everybody I talk to just experiences differently and deals with differently. So I don't know about Sam. I didn't have any visits to Austria while I was away, but that was a Rotary rule actually for Austrian Rotary. But dealing with homesickness, I guess calling home can go either way. Sometimes you feel better, sometimes you feel worse. I think just being really involved in things there that take you along with it.
Because I don't want to. That's great. You want to golf? But
I mean, the first half I was just really excited, but by the end I was calling my parents like every day. I mean, just because it was fun. I mean, if you have a good host family, good connections, I think you're fine. And part of this program is like being someone who's not very attached to home.
It was inside that, and the gentleman, the host.
I know very well I'm going to be homesick. I love my family a lot. It's a big adventure for me to just like be away from them for a week, let alone 10 months. I know I'm going to miss them, but part of growing up is being able to act independently. I'm going to be like giving texts and phone calls at least once a month, probably once a week. I'm going to be, I have a bunch of presents in my closet prepared for all the holidays and the birthdays that are going to happen when I'm gone. Like I have everything prepared and I'm homesick already.
Right? I'm going to leave it. They said leave it with you. Yeah, Sydney.
At
Okay.
this time, I'd like to invite Bill Statsowitz for a special announcement.
Because I have to let everything dry that I'm, putting on there. But yeah, I can certainly do that.
Okay. Does it gonna show? That I know what's going on? No, hopefully not. Okay,
Don't forget South Sudan. Take these flyers with you.
Okay, perfect.
So last week, Guy Joplin spoke at this very podium of the current need for host families for the incoming exchange students. Deborah tells us that we've got it now. We've just seen and heard from those young adults who this club sent abroad last year because of your contribution and Deborah's determination. I suspect that after you've heard and seen from Sam the Man Madison, Galen and her family, and now Amelia Davidson, that you may be more inclined to open your hearts to those who will be joining us from parts unknown. Japan, South America, Central, or even Eastern Europe. Think about it. It'll be a life-changing event for you, your family, and the students themselves. On her last day as president, Linda Reinhardt recognized the Rotary Youth Exchange as one of the most rewarding, but also the most time-encompassing program this club participates in. We must coordinate with the district, international headquarters, the State Department, foreign governments, concerned parents on different time zones, different languages, insurance agencies, health departments abroad, all the while bringing into this country teenagers that promise not to do drugs, drive, date, or drink, the 4 Ds. What possibly could go wrong? I know when I was 15 to 17, those 4 Ds were what I looked forward to. Well, this was a team effort headed up by Deborah, supported by Jen Legler, Guy Joplin, and me. But if either Greg Young, our president at the time, or Deborah listened to me, we would not have had any of these youths either going or coming. You see, the Rotary Youth Exchange, RYLA, was halted a few years back due to COVID, and we had to send the 2 kids that we had, Miguel from Spain and Pink from South Asia, we had to send them home lickety-split And the three youths that we had planned to send abroad stayed a while, but over time they aged out. When the district chose to start up RILA, only a handful of the 30-odd some clubs in our district chose to join the first year. Heck, we had a new leader at the district level. This was Debra's first official year, and Jan, our past leader, was leading the life of a full-time grandma in Nebraska and only here in Gainesville part-time. I thought it best to wait. Give the program a year to smooth out all the new wrinkles. I encouraged Debra to wait till next year and was a bug in Greg's ear to stop the program. If I was successful, we would not have had these kids in front of you today. It's good that my advice was listened to but not taken. So due to Debra's determination, fortitude, and service above self, that I stand here today to introduce to you Rotary International and this club's newest Paul Harris Fellow, Debra Newell.
I just want to say thank you. I never expected anything like this. This is wonderful. You do what we do here in Rotary with our hearts, and this is icing on the cake and something that I won't ever forget. Thanks.
Not that I can top that by any means, but I do want to recognize your time with us today, putting this program together, and make a donation to the Child Early Learning Center on your behalf. Thank you. Let's see, so next week's speaker will be our District Governor, Mickey Ulmer, so make sure you don't want to miss that. Then our quote of the week, travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness by Mark Twain. Going back very much to what Greg mentioned with the Rotary's peace-building efforts. The Rotary Reading Safari drawing number is 761. 761. With that, I adjourn.